I remember being 39 and about to turn 40 and being very stressed, having a little bit of anxiety about it. But I'm here to tell you, halfway into my 40s, it's not so bad. Hello, my name is Edward Roberts. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Edward's Journal. So, turning 40, to those of you out there who are getting close to that age, maybe thinking, like, I've heard, the journey's half over, you're halfway there. That's a very negative way to think about it. And, I got to be honest, ages 1 through 20 weren't that great. It was a struggle for me personally. Things weren't great. I was not in a good financial situation, whether that was me growing up as a kid quite poor, or if that was me just getting established as my own independent adult self. Things weren't great. Yes, I had my health, but I didn't know anything about anything. And the worst part is when you're 18, 21 in that ballpark, you think you do know everything, and that's just a recipe for absolute derailment and disaster. So by the time you're 39, getting close to 40, at least I should hope you are somewhat established. Maybe you have a wife, husband, a significant other, at least you've got a group of friends. You're established not only financially, but you're established in your heart, you're established in what you wanted to accomplish in life, and even if you're not fully there, at least there is some groundwork, some foundation for things that are going to blossom and get more amazing as the years go on. Now, I've heard it said that 40 is the new 30. I got to be honest, I feel like 40 is the new 25. I have a great mindset and some good spirituality that I had in my early 20s. My body's not quite as strong as it was back then, but I will say everything around me just feels more grounded, more solid, more substantial. My relationships with people, be that friends, family, a significant other. I myself, this isn't everybody's situation, but I've got kids. They are wonderful. They are the light of my life every day, and I love spending time with them. I didn't have those things when I was in my 20s. I certainly didn't have any kind of concrete foundation of anything I could really count on, whether that was in my professional life, relationships around me, people that I really cared about. Those connections really hadn't strengthened, and that bridge wasn't as strong as it is now. So I look back at my life dreading being 40 years old. Now that I'm here, I can tell you with confidence, it's pretty awesome. I think we stopped celebrating birthdays, anything after 30. At least I know for me personally, they stopped being a joyous event. But at the same time, people that gripe and groan about getting older consider the alternative. Why did that sound like a bad Rodney Dangerfield stand-up routine? Anyway, easy for me to say right in the thick of it, but honestly, I think the 40s is the best decade of your human life. You are established, at least like I said, somewhat financially. Maybe you have some security of a place that you live in, maybe you've lived in for a while, relationships, friends, family, neighbors, people around you. You've had time to mature and grow these fruits, and hopefully they are now later in life bearing fruit. So that's one reason to be glad about being in your 40s. Another is your body ain't so bad. I mentioned I'm not as strong as I was when I was 25, but I wouldn't even say I'm not as strong as I was. I just have to work harder to maintain those things. So things that would come naturally to me, like burning calories, now I've got to consider walking to work a few times a week to burn off those lbs from a weekend of debauchery. But hey, getting outside for a walk and getting some fresh air ain't so bad. Another thing amazing about being in your 40s is you don't really have to sit and worry about what other people think about you. And again, that's not everybody's journey. That's been mine. I never really cared that much, to be honest with you, but the closer I got to being, late 30s, early 40s, I really couldn't care less what people think about me. Now, people that are close to me, I obviously care what they think to a point. I would never want to be known as a foolish person or a dishonest person. This reputation comes from the way you live your life. If you're known as a dishonest person, trust me, you planted those seeds, and only you can till them and plant new crops and try to repair things around you. So when I say I don't care what people think about me, there are limitations to that, and that is definitely one thing. I want my friends and family to trust me, to enjoy my company, and to think of me as a good person. Now, do I need their thumbs up and hat tip to every little thing I do? Absolutely not. And that's where I say I don't really care what people think about me. And that became a lot easier to feel that way the closer to 40 I got. I find when you hit 40, maybe you do think, the journey's half over, you're halfway there, and things stop becoming so important to you. And one of those first things to fall by the wayside was definitely worrying about what other people around me thought about me. So anybody out there approaching the big 4-0, do not hesitate to hold your head up high and look forward to every minute of it. I know I'll be making a video about how amazing my 50s are when I get there, but right now, in this moment, being in my 40s is just fine. Thank you so much for joining me here today. My name again was Edward Roberts. If you haven't done so already, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to the channel. It is the best way to help a teeny tiny channel try to get off the ground. Sometimes these YouTube channels feel like a lead balloon, but we'll get there eventually. Leave me a comment down below if you haven't already, and until next time, know that you are very, very appreciated. Take care.